what the heckins is up. No cussing because today's Easter Sunday. This is Paulie, and you're here watching me ride my 22 Harley Davidson Lowrider S 117 engine. Sounds so good, doesn't it? I've had this bike for a while, for like a year and maybe 2 or 3 months, but I've only put 1,400 miles on it. And I'll tell you why. This bike is very expensive and I plan on selling it. This is never a bike that I wanted to keep for a long time, but I do like it, but there are some things that I don't like about it. So I figured I would put in some time and tell you guys what the heckins is going on. So 22 Lowrider S, gunship gray, obviously. Why is this dude not in the bike lane? You have a bike lane for you, right? (120 foot-pounds of torque), about 100 horses. This bike is 670 pounds, but it does not feel like it. This bike has a very low center of gravity. We are going to go on a little curvy road here in a few minutes. You know, since this is Houston, curvy roads are at a premium inside the city limits, but I know of a few. This bike, for all intents and purposes, is Harley's Canyon Carver. Very agile for a cruiser. This bike has double disc brakes, which most Harleys have single disc. I think this bike and the Fat Bob are the only ones with double disc brakes, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe they added more. Maybe they added the Street Bob to that since they put a 117 in it, but I think those two are the only two. This bike has an air breather that comes out of the side, just like the Breakout, the new Breakout, the 117 that they put in that. It has the same air breather, but that bike has forwards. This bike has mids. They're like they're not mids, but they're forward mids, so it's more of a relaxed position. I had a Street Bob 2020 which had the 107, and that bike had like super mid, so my feet were like right here, and it made my legs go in kind of a right angle, like an acute angle, but more up than anything. It feels very awkward on that bike. I am 5'11", 32-inch inseam, and this bike fits me perfect. This is why I came this way. Look at the skyline, man. This is probably the nicest day that Houston has had in probably about 4 or 5 days. It's been raining a lot. So this bike fits me pretty well. Redline is at 5,500. So, you know, of course it can be tuned to go more, but stock redline is 5,500. So that torque, that 120 foot-pounds, comes in at 3. But the redline comes very, very quickly. There's fun to be had on this bike. This bike is again, for its size, this bike is very, very agile, very good. The mods that I put on here I will show y'all in a few, but I will tell y'all now. The only things that I've done is I put a Vance and Hines slip on. That's why it sounds so good, because stock Harley sounds like sewing machines. They don't sound like shit. I put on turn signals from Eagle, I believe it's called Eagle Lighting. Put on the halos, turn signals front and back. They work really, really good. The front ones are lit, you know, they're bright white around the ring. It has like a diffuser thing, so it doesn't, you don't see the individual LED lights, so it looks good that way. So they're switchbacks, they're white, turn signal amber. In the back are just a bright red. They're not on all the time because this is a Lowrider S. It does have its own brake lights, so they're only on for turn signals. I do have a Moon's MC brake light on this bike that I will show you. It is also integrated, but I don't have it wired that way. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much the only modifications I made on this bike. This bike, stock single seater. You know, I never even tried to, like, I'm guessing this is adjustable to front fork. Maybe I'm fucking wrong. I should know shit about this bike since I've had it for so long. But I know it has a adjustable rear. I know that for a fact because they gave me a spanner wrench. These bikes are very bare bones. Now the new Lowrider S's and STs have cruise control standard, which I wish they had when I bought this bike instead of offering it to me for $600. But no, they don't want to do that. It's Harley. They nickel and dime you for everything. You want a better seat? More money. You want rear foot pegs? More money. You want a better exhaust? More money. Everything costs more money. You want a better light? Because this headlight is not that great. That's why I keep it on my high beams all the time, because this light is not great. More money. Everything, more money. But that is the Harley culture. You want something, you want to make something yours, you're gonna have to pay for it. It's a money pit. So if you buy these bikes, you know what you're getting yourself into. If you want one of those Memphis Shades fairings, money. Moon's MC headlight or Baja Designs headlight, money. Everything, money. Oh, the other thing is I bought a one of these gas caps from Harley, low profile, because the other gas cap is stupid, but this one is just as stupid. I thought it had like a hinge or something so you could just press down, and no, it is not that. You have to press it up just to screw it. It looks better, but god damn it, I wish I kept my money for that. So let's talk about the dash. This is all you get right here. Now this is, I would say that this is a hell of a lot better than having one that's on the tank. If you're wearing a full face helmet like me, my god, just looking down, like nobody has time for that shit, man. I'd rather have something that's in my line of sight, just like what I'm used to. You know what I mean? Tack, analog tack, great. Speedometer, you got your range, time, RPM, which is redundant, odometer, trip A, trip B. That's really all you need. Gear indicator on the side. Tech on this bike, non-existent. Except, no, it does have ABS. It does have ABS, so that is something. But it has basically nothing else. You have to add everything. You want hand warmers? Add it. Traction control, you out of luck. You really need traction control though. I mean, it's nice, but you don't really need it. Don't need modes. That's pretty dumb. Why would you have modes on something like this? And that is the Twisty Road segment. That wasn't much of anything, huh? So we're gonna pull over here in a second once I get past Memorial Park. I do like the rideability of this bike though. This bike is I've owned 3 Harleys, the Street Bob that I mentioned before, and the I owned a 2018 Fat Boy, which, my god, is the total opposite of this. There are subtle differences between each Softail. Oh, that's a nice little cafe racer he got. There's subtle differences between each Softail, and I think this one is the more sporty one. Because the Fat Bob is sporty too, but it has like super fat tires. And it has Fords also. And it has the tank mounted gauges, and it has like a 3-gallon gas tank. You know, it's just subtle differences. But they're all kind of the same kind of formula. Sounds good, don't it? put our flashers on because they're right there. The controls: kill switch, start switch, turn signal, flashers, ignition. Yeah, this is just a turn on the bike. Brights, non-brights, horn. I've gotten used to having the turn signals on both sides. It's actually pretty nice, to be real with you. It makes a lot of sense. I know it's weird at first, but it makes a shit ton of sense. So, this is it. My 22 Lowrider S in Gunship Gray. As you can see, my turn signals are on, my eagle lighting, and this is how she looks. Mostly stock, like I said before. The sound of my people. These Moons MC tail lights work great, or tail light works great. Brake light, I know, as you can see, it has the integrated, but I have these. So Vance and Hines Eliminator exhaust. That's pretty much it. Everything else is stock. Now I did adjust the when I bought it from Harley Davidson in Woodlands. I had them adjust the shifting pedal because for some reason it is high from factory. Had my 1,000-mile service already. It was a shit ton of money. These Harleys ain't cheap. Of course, you can do all the work yourself. So let's talk rideability and whether I would buy this bike again. I really like the way that this bike rides. The suspension is actually pretty nice. I think from what I heard, the suspension, like they adjusted it, they had more height in the back. This bike turns in very nicely. You know, it's not gonna lean over. I mean, it's not, you know, it's not like a sport bike where it's gonna fall into turns, but it does great. And this bike is pretty damn agile. It's one of those bikes where you can go on curves. You know, you can go on curves and feel, maybe not super technical curves, but like long sweepers and stuff. I think this bike will be pretty good at doing it. It definitely has the torque to get yourself, you know, to get your ass out of the corner. But if you're looking for something, you know, high horsepower, this ain't it. This bike tops out at, I think, 120 stock. I haven't tried to test it because I'm so worried about tank slappers, and I don't think this thing will give me one. It's been pretty stable, but you never know with these bikes. These bikes ain't built for speed, so you really have to watch your back. Street riding is cool. It gets hot. It gets very hot underneath the seat. Of course, it's a twin, so the cylinder is right underneath your ass. Like really the heat prefers to come up to your right thigh, and it really cooks your right thigh. Like, it gets very hot. Of course, this is an oil air-cooled bike, so you have to watch for overheating. You coming? I guess not. I gave you an out. It does have an oil cooler. It does have some semblance of a radiator, but there's no coolant. There's no coolant tube, reservoir, nothing. So it's oil and air cooled. So on super hot days, of course, I live in Texas. On super hot days, I do get nervous when it comes to this bike. Not to say that this bike is prone to overheating, because I haven't heard anything really. But it just makes me nervous, and it barbecues my damn right thigh. This bike likes to roll, likes to go. The wind does not bother me too much. The wind does not bother me too much. But of course, if you're going on a long trip, and those trips include like high speeds like this, you know, going 90 plus, 80 plus, get yourself a windscreen, get yourself a Ricochet fairing. This bike can't be turned into a touring bike. This bike is comfortable enough to be turned into like one of those light touring bikes. Of course, Harley sells the big baggers if you want to do big mileage, or you know, get yourself a Road King, or you know, if you want to go Indian, go, you know, do a you know, get a Challenger, get a Chief, Super Chief. Those bikes are built for the longer miles. This bike, you have to make it into that. All in all, if you like cruisers, watch out for this person, get away from me. If you like cruisers and you like fun cruisers, take a look at this. Now, competition for this includes Indian Chief Sport, which the only Indian bike that I've ridden is the Scout Bobber, and that was cool. That was actually pretty cool. I'm no brand elitist. Like I've had tons of bikes from each brand. I just haven't had an Indian, or had an extended period of time with like an Indian Chief, which, you know, they were hard to come by during the pandemic. But I've seen them, and they have, you know, they have the TFT screen, they have the cruise control, they have the navigation. And they're pretty much the same cost as something like this. So it's really up to preference. Because basically from the reviews that I've seen, they kind of ride the same. Alrighty. Turn test. Let's see how much I can do. This is as much as I can turn the bike without without feeling nervous. There we go. That's a good turn. So 2 parking spaces. It's again, it's a very agile bike for the size. Would I buy this bike again? Thing about Harleys, they are way too expensive for what you get. Harley sells them based off of a history, and people eat this shit up. I did too. Like I won't lie. I love V-twins. They're my favorite engine configuration. Would I buy it again? Not at this price. I believe it's A19 now. It's cool if you like cruisers. If you like cruisers, this is one of the best. If you like sport cruisers, this is one of the best. But I personally would not be paying for something like this again.